Hello and welcome to the Women's History Show. My name is Elaine Enriquez, and we are here at OVM Radio and OVM TV, reaching you live through our social media outlets. We're in Facebook, YouTube, Instagram. Thank you for tuning in, and join me now to welcome a friend and my co-host, Nouchelle Hastings. Nouchelle, welcome.
Thank you for having me. I'm glad to be back home.
I'm so excited to have you here. And it's the perfect time. It's the Women's Month. So we're praising women all over the world. But I have a question for you. What inspired you to create a program such as this for women to empower women?
Well, it actually happened with my beautiful sister who's there, Maria. We were having breakfast one morning. I love breakfast. We were having breakfast and we started brainstorming about some of the things that women are going through. And I mentioned to her that one of the litigation assistants told me that she had not washed her hair in 4 months. She's like, I have not washed my hair in 4 months. And I asked her, I said, so did you not shower? She goes, no, I just didn't wash my hair in 4 months. I haven't washed my hair in 4 months. And when I asked her about it, the breakdown, she says, to wash your hair is not just washing it, but then you have to dry it. Then you have to straighten it. Then, she said, I don't have time for myself. And I realized then the toll that the pandemic was taking on women. And so we had started this as a small group just to be supportive, to unleash our full potential. But it was there that it gained access to why it needed to be larger than just a small hub of women.
Wow, that's wonderful. It's amazing how things can take place and God comes in and just evolves and makes something bigger out of it. We have amazing women here as our guests. We also have a studio audience. Everyone in the studio audience, if you can just say hi and wave to those that are tuning in, it'd be great. Get excited. Yeah. Okay, those are the women that I know. Who do we have today?
Well, I'll start with one of the founding women of Women Empowering Women in Development, a woman that I love. And I want to take a sidebar that if you don't have a biological sister and you pray and you desire one, they show up, and sometimes they show up in the most needful times and needful moments. And so I know Maria as long as I've almost been in South Florida. So with us today, joining us is Maria Isabel Coloma of Pocora, Women Empowering Women in Development founding member. We have pastor, coach, the unbroken strategist, Natalie B. Green. And we also have with us a woman whose smile just brightens up my life. Oh my gosh, I can look at your smile all day. So yes, I have you on LinkedIn and a lot of places because I want people to smile. And this is none other than the beautiful Sylvia Brown of DMI, CEO. So we have other audiences that are with us, and we're going to have a part 2. So we won't introduce them yet. But of course, we have myself, Nouchelle Hastings. How about that? They call me Shelly. Okay, so Elaine, hi, girl.
Hi, girl. Hi, girls. Hi. I'm really excited to be here. I mean, the professional women that we have as guests. It's just amazing. Wow. I just want to say something that at the beginning of the program, we had a little glitch, but I just want to present myself once again. My name is Elaine Enriquez, as Nouchelle had mentioned, and this is the Women's History Show. So thank you for tuning in, and I know that you will be highly blessed. Amen. Well, who should we ask first? Okay, let's go over here to Sylvia.
Hello.
Sylvia, let me ask you um, about your career. Where do you find yourself at this moment? And what else you can share about your life so the audience can get to know you better?
I currently am the owner and CEO of DMI Paving and Seal Coating. This month is actually a year that I've owned it. I started off working for them. Wow, I don't even know. Like the time just flies, but like 26 years ago, I was in the production team. Um, I was the secretary for the production team, and a month into that, my boss was fired. So obviously, I freaked out a little, and it just happened to be that we were trying to find a production manager, and I stepped in to help out until we found one. Um, I did have a small child at the time, so I couldn't really do the hours that the production manager needed to, but we started working in conjunction together once we got a new one. And then from there, I was there like 16 years in the production team for South Florida, sometimes helping out the other offices in Orlando and Tampa and Fort Myers. And after that, I became the operations manager for the company, and then the president, and then the owner. And I'm hoping to one day expand us out of Florida into the Southeast region of the United States.
That's beautiful. So, Natalie, I'm going to ask you this question, almost the same, but your path, your journey. Right? We just heard Sylvia say she's done this with a little child, right? She started as a mom and a professional. You are a mom in that instance, like she was,
Yes.
a businesswoman, an assistant at church, and on top of that, an author, a coach, and a pastor, where you have to deal with a lot of different personalities.
Yes.
Talk to us about that journey.
It's a very interesting one. It's so much, but I am grateful for where I am. I have tread lots of water. I have gone through traveled through some very difficult terrain in this path that brought me to this place where I am now. Starting out, my husband I've been married 36 years. First and foremost, I am a wife too, y'all. I have to, that's my husband. Come on. We've been married 36 years. And when I met my husband, he was already in ministry. He was a minister. He's a singer, songwriter, producer, the whole deal. And he was a very public person. I was the complete opposite. I was a very intimidated, introverted, shy person, loved the background. And to find myself where I am today, sitting here, it can only be a whole move of God to have me where I am today. But I began to transition in my life, and it did not come through easy times, because it's easy to say, "Oh wow, she's all that, she's got it going on," but the backstories is what builds us and forms us and makes us who we really are, who we become. And it's traveling through those moments, those difficult places, that I began to find out who God was. And once I found out who he was, I found that I was somebody. And I didn't have to be afraid. I didn't have to love to be in the shadows. I could actually come out into the light, and I can be light to people in the world. And so as a coach and as an author and as a speaker and all the other things that I do in life, and there's a whole list, my greatest achievement is the impact that I make in the life of other people. Whether it's been a mom, a wife, a speaker, a pastor, working at a doctor's office, whichever one it is, I want to make sure that when it's all said and done, at the end of the day, they can say Natalie was here, and her imprint is still here when she's gone.
Wow, that's beautiful. Yes. Maria,
Yes,
having
ma'am.
listened to this path, right? They say the journey of 1,000 miles begins with the first step. Because I personally know you, I know that you have a daughter that is a successful attorney, right? But you
Yes.
spent your life working and raising her, and you impressed upon her all these different principles that allowed her to, circumvent a lot of her peers. But what was your journey like the pressure to maintain and to be in a male dominated role and living on the road, doing all these things that you do, knowing all these manufacturing details? Like, talk to us about the pressure that you had to endure to get to be where you are today.
Well, the pressure wasn't so much on the industry because, as you know, I'm in the construction industry. The pressure was more a personal choice of either give all of myself and dedicate my life to raise my daughter correctly with morality and with the right principles, rather than the industry, because the industry, I was actually born in the industry. My father is a civil engineer in Peru, where I'm originally from. And for as long as I remember, I was in a job site. I was 6 years old, wearing a pink dress, a white hard hat, and steel toe shoes. Christening the first roof that it was constructed, built on a hospital. So I was always surrounded by men. I was always surrounded by construction. So in reality, it was kind of natural for me to be part of this industry. Yes, it is difficult to deal with the ideology that women are weak or fragile, and this is something that it's basically taught to men by their parents, including their moms. Little by little, you have to have thick skin. In reality, you have to actually don't take things personal when it comes to construction industry, the development industry. You have to understand that a man and a woman are different. We actually think with both sides of our heads, of our brains. So we don't only view things and work differently, but we also feel about it. So you have to kind of give them a break and understand that they're different when they're dealing between men, just each other. And they're also different when they have to deal with a woman, especially with a woman in power. It's difficult for them to understand that if you're in a managerial position, you have to tell them, the weak human being have to tell them what to do. They speak up, and they have the power to guide you. So it's not to excuse them, it's just to understand the industry and understand what many years of living in the construction industry is. Thick skin is basically what I've developed.
Let's give an applause to these wonderful women, wonderful stories that have empowered them and have positioned them in the place that they are today. Sylvia, why is it important for a woman to be empowered?
I think it's important because, like she said, historically, men are told that, we're the weaker sex, take care of your little sister, look after your mom while I'm not here. Like, we can't do it for ourselves. And I also think that while men do help us, um, I think it's out of the duty of they always want to help women because that's what they were taught, right? So, and I think historically women have been competitive against each other, which hasn't helped us because sometimes we tear each other down. And so
Yes.
it's nice to have women on your side, just like men have the good old boy network. We need a good old girl network, right? Because we've all been through the same things in our careers, whether we're in a men's industry or women's industry. Everything's the same. People always think you can't do your job because you're a woman. You're too emotional, you're too this, you're too that. There's always an excuse, even from our own women with us. How are you going to do this? You have little kids, but you find a way. And if you have a good support system, and it helps for it to be women, because they understand that you do have to juggle more than a man has to juggle. You have to come home, feed the family, make sure the house is clean, get everybody ready for the next day, and still do your job. I unfortunately did not always have a support system from my spouse. I was always the breadwinner. So I always had to drive myself to do everything if I wanted a better life for my kids and me.
Wow. Wow. You know, Elaine, I'm thinking about my grandmother, and my grandmother's almost 100. So there was a lot of things that she taught me. You know, there's a lot of things that I experienced, and I was taught that in order to be successful, home has to be like above board. You know, you can't be successful in the street, as she would say, if your bed's not made, or if the floor's not mopped, or if the clothes not put away. And so, one of the things that saw my grandmother do, she would wax the floor by hand. So to this day, if I mop, I do the floor by hand. And when I mention that, women literally, they don't go on the attack, but they get like, don't say that out loud. We don't want everybody to think that that's what we're going to do. But it's not because my husband wants me to do it. It's because it's something that is inside of me. Right. So thinking about that, Natalie, I want to ask you, what successful women have been in your life to help you get to the place that you are today?
Wow. There have been several. I came from a ministry locally, and there was one or two women, actually. There were several women there. First of all, of course, Dr. Gloria Williams was like, she was the person I inspired to be. When I heard her minister, the way she ministered the word, the way she carried herself as a wife, it was very inspiring. It was something that I could reach forward to. In addition to that, there were other people. My mom, oh my goodness, my mom was like my superhero. She was a single mother of seven. Yes, single mother of seven. Yes, that's what I said. Single mother of seven. I was number 5 of those 7, and we need a totally different show to talk about all that I learned and everything that happened in that whole situation with my mom being a single mother. She worked all day, but even as a single mother, she demonstrated and she modeled how to be a person of power, a woman of power, regardless of your situation. I came back I was born in the 60s. So and I grew up in the Liberty City areas in Miami, and there was something called the Jitney. I don't even know if the Jitney is still around anymore. Is it still there? Okay, good. I got somebody old enough to understand Jitneys. Thank you, honey. And see, they don't even know. Audience ain't they ain't even with it. Okay, so there was something called the Jitney, which was a mode of transportation, like a van. She owned that business, and then there was also a taxi. Anybody know taxis? Okay, she owned a taxi, so she drove the Jitney during the day, and she drove the taxi at night. And in between those times, she owned a dry cleaning company. All for the sake of taking care of her children, number one. Number two was to model to us that there is nothing that you can say you cannot do. That you can be unstoppable, you can be unbeatable, and you can be accomplished and successful in whatever you put your heart to do. There are no excuses accepted here. That lady was phenomenal. And today, my siblings and I, we live out her dream for us to be successful. All of us know the Lord. All of us are serving God. She didn't even know God at the time, but later on in her life, she came to know the Lord, and it just amplified in her life. But she modeled what a strong, powerful woman could be, regardless of where you found yourself in life.
Wow. And now they are modeling for all of us. Isn't that amazing? Thank you so much. I'm going to direct this question to Maria Isabel. Do women need to develop their full potential to be successful?
Definitely. Definitely. So we women, we need to set our standards. We need to set our parameters. We need to make sure that what we want to accomplish, it's doable. Once we're clear on our standards, once we're clear that the path that we want to take, I usually call it a staircase. Life for me is a staircase. When you're on the first floor, on the first step, you want to get to the landing, and the landing is your goal. And it has to be an achievable goal in order for you to be successful. So you go through different steps to continue to your goal and to your that follows your standards. So in order for you to be successful, you definitely need to be at your full potential.
Thank you for that. We're going to keep this question on you, and then we're going to ask the same of each of you, right? So when Maria's done, then Natalie, you can answer, then Sylvia, you can answer, right? So how should women see themselves in today's society?
As women.
Amazing. Love it.
Yeah, we are amazing. As a matter of fact, if you look at the dictionary, there is no the same meaning in any type of dictionary. I actually looked at it yesterday. I was like, what is a woman? You know, because a woman is everything that people can tell you, society can tell you. It's, a woman is the human that can give birth. It's a mother, it has feelings, it's nurturing. But actually, we women can be everything, you know. We could be political figures, and that's also how we see ourselves in today's society. We could be journalists, we could be artists, we can be in sports, we can be chefs, we can be in executive positions, we can do everything. So actually the word women, it's the right description for us. I'm happy to be a woman because I had a beautiful daughter. I could be the partner of an amazing husband. I have two great parents. My mother was unbeatable. Like Elaine mentioned, you know, sometimes you expressed my mother was the best. And you know what? Yes, my mother was the best for me. And I admire her. And she was one of the women that I wanted to be like the most since I grew up, and thankfully kind of I am. I have traits from her. But just be a woman and know what you could do as a woman, the power that we have is just enough.
Mm.
Let's give her an applause.
Yes.
Awesome.
Just want to.
Thank you. Thank you.
I mean, like that right there just kind of took my breath away a little bit. It's so freely, like just came out of your mouth, a woman. But when I even think about that, and it says that for Adam, when you talk about biblically, that everybody had somebody, it says, but for Adam, there was no one suitable. There was no one suitable. And then came woman. And Maria just broke it down so well. Why? Oh, goodness. Oh, I got to put that on repeat a little bit later. But yes, Natalie, tell me.
Ooh, that was hard to come after, Maria. That was so amazing. That was absolutely so amazing. Actually, when I heard your question, when you said the question, the first thing I thought about that society would want us to disrobe and take off our womanness. But you know, if she said the best thing we could be is woman, because just as you just alluded to in Genesis, the woman was value added.
Mm-hmm.
She wasn't a burden. She wasn't a weight.
Right.
She was value added. Yes. He was good. He had his job. He had his assignments. But she came, and the Bible says that he needs a helper. Value added. So we are value added to the society. We are value added to the culture. Why in the world would we strip off the robe of womanhood? We can be women. We can be woman in every arena where the soles of our feet tread, and we could be value added wherever we show up.
Wow.
They're a tough act to follow. I think that women should see themselves as strong and confident. We run our households. Even if you have a dominant male, you're still running the household with him, right? You make sure the bills are paid, the house is clean, the kids are fed, your husband's fed, your dog is fed, fish is fed. We juggle so many things, and then we get to the workplace and we forget that we do all that. And then we become this other person at work, and we shouldn't. We can handle so much. No slight to the men out there, but we all know they can't multitask. Okay. I have my son who cannot multitask. I literally have to tell him what to do step by step. If I tell him all at once, he can't do it. Now, not all men are like that, but my son is that way. We, for the most part, can multitask. And I think it's just part of our DNA because we have to do so much. So we should take that in stride and remember that when we're at the workplace, that we are somebody strong and confident. We can handle what people throw at us because we do it every day at home.
Wow, amazing. Now I'm going to direct this question to Maria Isabel. When you started your journey, what did you imagine to be your highest level of success?
It's funny because I mentioned before that I see life as a staircase. I don't see just one goal. I think it's more feasible for me to accomplish many goals, many things. And as time goes by, as you get older, you realize that what you thought that you wanted at 21, you don't want it anymore because you've already done it. And sometimes you haven't even realized it. So I wanna, climb up the stairs, the first flight, get to the landing, recharge, enjoy it, party about it, laugh about it, be, testimonial of what you did, of those 10 first stairs, steps, and then continue climbing. When I was 21 years old, I had my daughter. I was young, and I thought about it. I said, like I mentioned before, how do I do to raise the kid like my parents raised me, with those values. And at the same time, how do I go to school? And I was married. So I was like overwhelmed. I said, you know what, I'm just going to do the best every single day. And if one day I get tired, I'll just put it aside for a couple of hours and continue the next morning. My daughter, like Nouchelle said, she's a very successful attorney. She's living in Connecticut now. She's 26 years old and she's been practicing for almost 2 years. So she kind of like did it really well. I only remember that when she was 13, she was doing it all by herself. I was watching, but she took responsibility of everything. So she learned at an early age that she needed to be responsible for her own person. So since she was 13, I was kind of like proud of her. So I said, okay, I did a good job. I'm doing a good job. Then little by little, I finished school and I started working in the industry, the same industry I was since I was little. And I went from being a receptionist after college. I was a receptionist because I needed to work. I was a receptionist, and then I became a salesperson, inside salesperson, and then outside salesperson. I started to make a little bit more money here and a little bit more money there. I remember I said, oh my God, there's so many things that I need to learn about products. So I said, instead of knowing everything, I'm just gonna go through the one path, waterproofing, and that's what I know. So I can tell you, you ask me anything about waterproofing and I know it. But it's been throughout the years. Now I'm a 46-year-old woman and I can tell you I'm happy. I'm happy that when I was 21 and I decided to just fight every day and make the best that I could, was going to be my ultimate goal. So I have 3 landings: my daughter, my career, and my life, my personal life.
Thank you. Thank you. I something is happening to me on this show. Listening to you beautiful women, listening to how you have all the questions so eloquently played out. My mind is just moving like a million miles an hour sitting here as we learn from each other and embrace one another. Sylvia had said, being a woman means to not fight against each other, to work together, to not work in silos, to build together, to not be afraid. And there were so many things when you come up in a religious household, you're told that you can't do anything. This isn't good. This isn't that. This is wrong. This is that. And I was really funny and advantageous, but there was a lot of restrictions. There was a lot of restrictions. And so this question is going to be twofold for you, Sylvia and Natalie. One of the things we wanted to ask is, how should women stay connected in their successful path by technology? But the other part is, how do we stay successful and connected with sisters, the sisterhood? Like, I don't take this lightly, Elaine, that lately I have learned to unplug from people, right? Sometimes it's overwhelming. I have been a leader, I have been a doer, I have been a giver my entire life. I didn't get a break. With 5 brothers, even to go outside, you had to clean everything before the street lights went off. So I was constantly doing, and I have no regrets because it's allowed me to be able to do a lot as an adult. But now I have the passion to say, I don't want it. There's some responsibility that I just back off from, because once you say yes to it, then you have to be committed to see it through. Now I'm going to take a swimming lesson. I caught my first fish this past weekend. I went
That's
ski
awesome.
shooting.
Can I go with you?
Yes, I have learned that it's so important to unplug. Maria knows this is like my 3rd retreat. She's like, "Sister, I want to go." I was ashamed to take a break before. Now I'm not. Oh my gosh. So yes, how are you finding it necessary? What's necessary in your today to be connected to your success? Like, what is it taking for you?
Okay, the technology question, I'm horrible. Horrible. As Crystal, I just reshare what everybody at work posts. I'm of the era where you didn't want people to know what you were doing. You know? So it's really hard for me to put it out there and post it. So I can't really answer that question. But I think that staying connected to women is hard because we're busy. We're very busy. We are busy being a professional. We're busy being a mom, a wife, a sister, an aunt. We need to try to find time, even if it's like once a month, to get together. I try to see my best friend at least once or twice during the month so I can decompress and not have to worry about work. If you meet anybody that I know outside of work, I never talk about work ever because I need to decompress. I can't deal with it because I'm a person that if one of my employees calls me at 9:00 at night on a Saturday, I'm going to answer, so I don't want to deal with it on my personal life if I don't have to, because I need to be Sylvia myself and then Sylvia, the owner of DMI.
Beautiful. Nat.
Awesome. Absolutely amazing. As it relates to technology, I love it. I love advancement. My issue with it is time, but I think we need to embrace every tool, everything that's available to us to make, again, my life is all about impacting, right? And so if I can do it through my phone or my iPad, just put in one word, and it'll make a difference in someone's life. I'm for it. I'm with it. As far as connecting with sisterhood, I think that is like so important. I think it ranks very high on my commitment scale, but I also understand the power of letting go. I understand the power of just pulling back and saying, not today. But if there's something my sister has going on or my sister's doing and I can be a part of it, I can support it in any way, I'm showing up. And I'm not trying to be catty. I'm not trying to be fighting. I'm the least drama person you'll ever meet because it just doesn't fit with who I am. I'm really all about what can I do to lend a hand to help you up. I'm all about what can I do to impart into you and what is my assignment in your life, vice versa. What is your assignment in my life? When people come into my life, new people, especially women who get really close to me, I'm very guarded, obviously. Of course, we need to be very discerning of relationships. But when they come into my life, I really ask the Lord, I say, what is their assignment in my life? And what is my assignment in theirs? Because I believe that relationships should be mutually beneficial. I don't think they should be one-sided. I've been in those types of relationships, and they're not good. They're not comfortable. They don't make you feel well about who you are. They take something away from you that you can't get back. And so I think it's important that we embrace, opportunities and technology and things. But I think we also need to embrace that flesh. We need to be able to touch and hug and say, hey, what's going on? Even if we don't talk, in 6 months, but when we get on the phone, we on there 2 hours catching up like it was yesterday. It's important. It's important. We need connection. The whole situation in the garden wasn't necessarily about whether Adam needed, just another some help. He needed someone he could relate to on the level of where he was, because God was God, but here's Adam in his image, but he has this flesh house on. He needs someone else in the flesh. The first thing he says, flesh of my flesh. He didn't say spirit of my spirit. He didn't say intellectual connection. He said, I got someone I can connect to in the flesh. I can reach out and touch, and I can feel them. So important.
So important to hear that, Natalie, because a lot of the times when women become successful, they kind of become lonely. They separate themselves. And that is not the path to take. And I find myself sometimes in that situation where I'm running radio, television, and I'm so busy caught up in what I'm doing. I am forgetful that we should connect with other people in the media as well. We grow, we develop. So that's another question that I have for Maria Isabel. And also, I want to add to that. How did you advance when facing adversity in a man's world of business?
Adversity of it kind of I just take it easy. I can't take things personal. One of the things that my dad always taught me was you have to differentiate and put aside your feelings, put your heart on one side and put your brain on another side. When you're at work, you need to think about work. You can't feel about work. When you become friends with someone at work, then you kind of like set the difference. You could say, I feel this way, but when you're at work, you have to think. That's how you kind of make things easier for you. That's the way I made it simple. You have to simplify your life. You have to simplify your workspace, your work. You have to get organized. You don't have to show anybody what you do or who you are. You just need to make sure that the way I see it, this is simple. When for work, I need to know the 3 questions, right? The what, the where, and the why. I need to know what I want. I need to know where I want to go. And I need to know why I want to do it. Everything else is not important. So if there's any adversity or if somebody has any type of issues with my ultimate goal, I have to simply just deal with it. Think about it, deal with it, step away if it's not worth it, or be passionate if it's worth it. And no matter what, just focus and say, I'm going to do it because this is what I want.
Wow. That is delicious. That's my new word when something is good. That is delicious. And before we go into this next question, one of the things, if Maria and I don't physically speak every day, we'll send each other like these emojis. I think she has more advanced emojis than me. Mine's are always the same. Talking about technology, my emojis are like always the same. But even when we're like running off the phone and going into a meeting, she would go, sister, me too. And I know that means I felt you, I got you, I love you. Like literally, she would, me too. And that means so much, right? So we want to talk about surpassing our wildest dreams. But if I could just share something that happened today. I've had my same stylist for 5 years that I've lived in South Florida, right? She has styled me from a lot of places. She has rescued me when I was a hot mess. She's like, you can't go out there looking like that. Shell, you can't do this. Shell, you can't do that, right? And so, of course, you all had a chance to meet her today. But while we were in the bathroom and all the ladies were interacting and getting ready and different things like that, she was like, this is what I want to do. This is what I want to do. I want to be on the set. I want to be behind the scenes. So yes, we come to places in life and we discover that we are not 21 anymore. We have those wildest dreams. We have those imaginations. Sylvia, have you surpassed those wildest dreams?
Well, I'm still not Mrs. Bon Jovi, so I guess not. I've been trying to get him to get divorced, but it hasn't worked. But of my realistic dreams, can I tell you that I didn't have any? You know, I'm a daughter of immigrants, the 8th child. We lived in Carroll City. I just thought having a good job and taking care of my kids was enough. And thanks to my mentor, Ray Applebaum, and his wife, Frederica Applebaum, I was able to have dreams, to know that they were possible. I just lived in the moment, and hey, I got food on the table. My daughter has food on the table. That's more than enough, because I did see my mom and dad struggle with all those children. I thought that was the end game for me. And because of them, I learned to have goals. And I think I've reached them, and there's maybe more, but for right now, I've reached them.
It's beautiful. Natalie.
Did you want me to answer that question?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Dreams. Wow. I have reached some of my dreams. I have reached some of my goals. I believe I have fulfilled part of my purpose. But I'm of the mindset that as long as I'm on the earth, there is always somewhere else for me to reach. There was something the late great Miles Monroe said. They say the most dangerous thing you can do in your life is to rest on your last success. Because if I don't move from here, then I'm no longer useful. It's the same stuff. And we know people get bored. I'd get bored with my life if I had nothing else to reach for. And so I'm constantly reaching it and asking God what's next. And I'm like, for me, I need things out of my reach, because I need to know that I'm not in control, that he's in control. And as long as he's in control, it has to be bigger than me, because if I can do it on my own, then I'd get bored with it too. Right. So it has to be stuff that I, in my own ability, don't believe I can reach, but I keep dreaming and I keep reaching and I keep striving, but not in my own strength. But I'm like, God, this is something you set before me. I'm going after it every day. I don't care. I mean, I wanted to be an author. I've been a writer since a young child. I have 2 or 3 more books that are coming up next. I wrote my first one in 2018. I'm writing one that I want to release this year. And I'm working on another one for women in ministry and leadership. So I'm always, pushing, learning more, even in the coaching, even in my speaking, whatever it is that I'm doing to make a difference, I'm wanting to grow. I think anything that's not growing, it's just going to, at some point, become stagnant. And I don't want that life. I grew up in it. I grew up around drug addicts. I grew up around people who would just, they were alive, but they were dead men walking. And that's not something I wanted. I did it for years. As I said, I lived in the background the first 10 years of my marriage. My husband was active. He was traveling all over the country, singing and playing music with the pastor, and I was home. And he would come home and say, what do you want to do with your life? Because I was good. We had a house. I wasn't in poverty. We had somewhere to stay. We had vehicles. I was satisfied. And he said, but what do you want to do in your life? And one day, God unlocked the door to what could be. I'm so sorry. He unlocked the door and said, there's something else waiting for you. Can I trust you to go after it? Can I trust you with it? And I was afraid. And I said, God, I can't. And he said, but you can through me. I can do it through you. And so whatever door he's open for me, I'm turning the knob and I'm pushing. And I'm walking in every door and I'm reaching and I'm continuing to dream. I'll never stop dreaming until I leave. I will not die sick. I'll die finished.
Ooh, that's rich.
That's great.
Woo! That is, we don't even want to ask another question behind that. But you know, Elaine, it's so important that we're able to be on this platform with you wonderful, beautiful, strong women. You know your place. You're not confused about where you're going. You're not confused about how you got there. You're not confused about what you want to do next. We're not even confused about what we put on today. We came here dressed, right? We slaying, girl. We came here dressed to make a statement, right? People tell me all the time, oh my gosh, you're all over the place. I used to carry that guilt. I'm all over the place. I'm doing too much. But I'm doing the same thing, just a lot of it, because I don't want to leave anything on the table. Yes. And I don't want to leave my legacy to my last success. I want to be succeeding until the day I leave this earth. I want to be succeeding, right? They even said that Alzheimer's, you remember and repeat what you did last. So that's why I do something good every single day. So should I forget, then when I remember, it will be doing something amazing every single day, right? So we know, Elaine, we have agreed that God is our source and our truth and our inspiration. Why is it? And we'll start with Maria, whether you say God, your higher power, you believe that you were created by someone greater than you, by a bigger purpose. And he has charged you to be fulfilling inside of the earth. Maria, why is it important to put that at the forefront of everything that you do every single day? Then we're going to ask the same question of Natalie. Then we're going to ask the same question of you, Sylvia. And then, Elaine, you're going to take us into the next part.
Oh, you're giving me an opportunity?
Well, I went to all girls Catholic school back in Peru, where I was born and I was raised. And we read the Bible, and I loved the Bible. I think it's the greatest book ever written by many men. And the Bible has many parables. So, and I love most of them. Right now, I usually call them analogies so everybody could understand, because not everybody reads the Bible. But this is the way I see it. Okay, so very easy to put it. So a person is like a car. I love cars. So the engine is our hearts, and the steering wheel is our brain, and the rest of our body is just machinery. You know, the tires, windows, the body. God is the Department of Transportation, literally. He kind of like shows us that he paves the road and the turns. You know, he shows that you have a right turn, a left turn. You gotta go straight. There's no outlets, stop sign. Be careful with the curve. It places those warning signs in strategic locations, right? Traffic lights. But every once in a while, he also shows us the way to a rest stop. You know, every few miles, you have a rest stop at the turnpike, right? So this, for me, this is what God is. This is why it's important. He shows us the way. If we can see it, it's up to us. That's the way I feel. And now, you know, I think about the car, but the way I feel is this. I know he's next to me. I know he's looking at me. I know that he communicates through instincts. You know, if I have an instinct that I should do this, or this is going to happen, or I should not do this, it's because the one up there, the higher power, is telling me, hey, watch out, or go for it.
Awesome. Wow. I think I personally, I don't know who I would be without God in my life. I am who I am because of his influence. I put up a post the other day on social media that says the highest calling of all callings is to be yourself. But my vantage point with that statement is understanding that who I am is found in him. And so when I show up as myself, I'm creating his image. So when I show up as myself, I'm taking him with me. And he's with me everywhere I go. He's with me in everything I do. And so he is literally, yes, he is the Department of Transportation. He guides me, he shows me, he puts those little things in the road. You know, those things that if you go over a little bit, you can feel it on your tires bumping to get you back in the straight. You know, he's a lot of that for me. She getting rest stops. I'm getting those little bumps. You know, that's saying, sweetie, get back, get in your lane, you know, because as women, what do? We have a tendency to watch other people's race. We follow other people's travel. Well, I want to be like her, so I'll get in her lane. Get in your lane. And so when I show up as myself, when I'm operating in everything that he has caused me to operate in, then I'm operating in him, and he's with me, and he's showing up. I can't do it without him. It's all about him.
I'm not sure if my answer is going to be very popular, but I don't ever mix or talk about religion or politics in business, but I grew up Catholic, and I'm sure that the morality instilled in me through Catholicism spills into my everyday work. I just don't notice it, I guess.
That's true.
Wow, amazing. If it wasn't for God, I wouldn't be here. I told the girls before coming here to live on the program that I started at home between the kitchen and the family room in a round table with 2 chairs and a phone. But I saw this that we are doing today at that time. But I had to take the course. I had to go through the process. It's so important. We're listening to wonderful testimony of endurance, persistence, and belief in any which way. And it just takes you where God leads you. And that's just something I wanted to share. Now I'm going to direct this question to Maria. What personality trait did you hold on to the most to keep you focused along the way when things got bleak?
I'm very persistent. I'm very persistent and very determined. When I put something in my mind, and that I know I want to do, I know it's going to take me, I do it. I do it.
Well, amazing. I want to ask the same question to Natalie and Sylvia.
I'm just going to repeat what she says. I just refuse to take no for an answer. If it's a test, I'm one of those people that run to the challenge as opposed to running away from it. I've been that way all my life. And as a result, it has caused me to rise amongst the ranks. Any jobs I have gone on, I've always risen amongst the ranks. I was probably the least qualified when I arrived, but by the time it was over, I was in a higher position because I ran toward the challenge as opposed to running away from it. I refuse to take a no for an answer.
Wow.
Being stubborn. And
The other person.
yeah, the other persistent, and wanting to prove everybody wrong that didn't think I could do things, you know. I think that honestly drives me more than anything is people think I can't do something, and I can. And if I can't do it, I'll tell you.
Sylvia, what is the power of passion and how do you ignite your inner success?
My kids, they're my passion. They're my desire for inner success. I want them to be proud of me. I want them to see everywhere I've been, where I've come from. My daughter is more closely connected to that situation because I had her younger, and I see her passion. She is going to be 29 next month. She's 3 years married. She's getting her master's degree. She's doing her internship, and she's working. So that makes me happy because I hope that I instill that work ethic in her to get what she wants in life. So my passion is, and what drives me is my children.
Well, amazing. Amen. The same question for Natalie.
Can you say the question again, please?
Yes, gladly. What is the power of passion and how do you ignite your inner success?
The power of passion in my life is really just my history of knowing where I came from, and I'm not going out like that. I refuse to look like what I've been through. I refuse to revert to where I come from. I just want to have a life that looks different. On top of that, it's okay. I've worked hard enough. I have the passion to go out and do it. I go out and make the necessary adjustments in my life so that I can achieve the certain things I want to achieve. So I'm driven by by understanding that what is in front of me is possible. I do believe that if there's something that we want to do and we're passionate enough about it, we'll do it. It makes me stay up late at night, working, writing, studying, doing whatever I have to do. It makes me get up early in the morning to prepare. It's that thing that makes me want to be different. I don't want to be like the people I grew up with and I saw around me. I want to be different. I think difference is the thing that I'm so passionate about because so many of again we have this small world because of social media and because of the internet. The world is smaller than it's ever been. And we get sneak peeks into the lives of people and we begin to just say, oh, I can take that part of that person and that part of that person. But for me, I want to be different. I'm the only one in this room with red on today. It wasn't intentional, but it's just a depiction of the way I live my life. I want to be different. I want to stand out, not because I want attention. I just want to embrace who I am because I ignored who I was for so long. For so long, I was bullied as a child. I had a name. They called me from elementary school all the way through middle school. I was picked upon, but in the midst of all of that, I applied myself to learning. Continue to excel. I refuse to comply to what the world expected of me. I want to be different than the world expects because I serve a big God and I can be that. He's my daddy. My dad's good and I want to be different and I want to represent him.
Amen. And you are. Maria Isabel, the same question for you.
Passion. That's a that's a difficult question for me because I kind of like to live in peace. I kind of choose my EKG, I live this way and then a peak, which is passionate and happiness, and then I continue. But most of the time I want to take a breather in order to recharge. Passion for me, it's mostly confidence in knowing what I want. Like I said before, once I put it in my mind and I think it's going to have a positive outcome, then I want to do it. That's passionate. That's passionate for me. I was passionate when my daughter decided to go to school, and she said, I want to be a professional. I want to make money, and she was passionate about it. That passion, I was with her. I was passionate about that. I was impressed, and I am still very proud. But I want to change the word from passionate to maybe, determined.
Wow, amazing. Well, we're coming close to the end of the program. We would like each one of you to give us a message to the audience as closing. And Nouchelle, do you have one?
I am a huge believer that I was placed on this earth to give. And I have never been sidetracked when people think she's just giving to get attention or she's not normal. I know my role. And if you're out there and you know your role and you know what you were put on this earth to do, it is no one else's business. You will be so unhappy when you try to live the role that someone else is living. I'm a giver, I'm a doer, I'm a lover of people. And I'm going to do that every single day. And trust me, people talk about it. I'm not weird. I'm just doing what I was put on this earth to do with determination and passion and joy.
Thank you so much. That's wonderful. That's something we all share, right? Sylvia?
I think it's important to know your strengths and weaknesses, and also to not be afraid to say you don't know something. I'll find out. I don't know how to do that. I don't know the answer, but I'll find out for you. I think that gives you more respect than pretending to know something, than just said flat out admitting it and saying you're going to look into it.
That's awesome. I'd like to say, not just for myself, but just for everyone who would hear this and watch this particular show, is that I would challenge everyone to really take a moment, take some time with yourself, get in the mirror, get in your bathroom, wherever your place is. We all have a place, right? And I have my place. And just ask yourself, what else is there in me that's left? What treasure is there in me that I have not uncovered yet? That's what potential is. Many people say, oh, they have potential, but I'm not satisfied with just having potential because it's just latent power. We're talking about Women's History Month. I want to be a woman of power. I want my potential to blossom, and I want it to be seen, because what's the point of being potent and not being powerful, right? So challenge yourself to say, what is my superpower? It may be loving and giving, like Nouchelle, right? It could be this really boss up lady over here, right? Whatever it is, find your own and be passionate about it. And don't take no for an answer. Go for it. Show up as yourself and do the doggone thing. Okay?
Maria Isabel.
I believe that in order to love and empower others, you have to do it first on yourself. We must love and empower ourselves. We have to know ourselves. And there's a lot of talking about technology. There's a lot of resources. The technology is good because, you find instructions in technology. You find books. There's no excuses not to read anymore. We need to read. And this is a message. We need to read. We need to educate ourselves. We need to be better every day. We need to remind us who we are and what we want. It's not just, I went to school and that's it. We have to continue our education. Once we know who we are, we can do better. We can do good. We can share. We can listen. It's just, work hard, be persistent, be organized and disciplined, be respectful, very respectful. Love, be vulnerable, live, be happy, continue, and be happy again. Happy is not a one-time thing. Happiness, it's constant. And that's what I want to remind everybody else. We created Women Empowering Women in Development. We couldn't put it at Women Empowering Women only because, oh my God, that's a lot. It will be for every person out there. We created Women Empowering Women in Development because Nouchelle and I are at a point in our lives that we know what we want, we know who we are, but we needed to remind each other. That's why we have each other. And then we introduced the idea to another 3 women, and they kind of said, yeah, we want to do it too. We want to mentor. We want to make sure everybody knows that we're there for them. So in order to do that, we have to love ourselves.
Well, thank you so much. Could you please share contact information for our audience to connect with you directly?
Well, since I have the mic, I'll just go ahead and start. I can be reached at very simply nataliebgreen.com. That's my website. All social links is Natalie B. Green, LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook. Put in Google Natalie B. Green and you'll find me. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Our webpage is dmipavingandsealcoating.com. And my email is Sylvia, SILVIA, @driveway.net. And you can find me on LinkedIn under Sylvia Castellon Brown.
Maria?
I'm simple too, as Elaine. You can find me in LinkedIn, Instagram, and Facebook under Maria Isabel Coloma.
Thank you. Nouchelle?
On LinkedIn, social, just Google me. No.
She's got it like that.
Thank you, ladies. It's been wonderful to have you here. It's been an enriched time. We are so blessed to have heard each and every one of you. Thank you for this wonderful blessing, Nouchelle. I'm here just fulfilled with so much energy, but I have to stay still on the chair. But thank you so much, Maria, Natalie, and Sylvia. God bless you. And
Thank
God
you.
bless our audience. Thank you so much for joining us. And God bless you that you're behind that camera, wherever you are, in whatever device you're using to connect with this program. God bless you. Seek that persistence and reach for that goal and keep your passion ignited to wherever you want to go. God bless you. See you soon on the next Women's History Show. Till then.
Me too.